Help us, Malia Ayana. You're our only hope. Eight generations and 132 years ago, the fifth element was introduced to your great, 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 great grandmothers, Judith Casey and Flora Major, on the evening after their children, Tom and Julia, wed. A storm furious and eager with ruin clawed across Christian County. Its numerous lightning strikes disfigured fields from Pembroke to St. Elmo, Lafayette to Hopkinsville. While surveying the Lafayette farm owned by Tom for damages, Judith and Flora find a tree alive with electricity, guarded by Elohim, the Ananuki ambassador. No taller than a wagon wheel, their pale green skin was haloed by a shimmering yellow glow. Elohim's hands were plentiful, an additional 2 sets jutting out of their torso and hips. 3 red almond-shaped eyes settled on Flora and Judith, relaxing their battle-like stance. Elohim explained, "Be not afraid. I am Elohim of the Ananuki Freedom Colony. Lina White, destroyer of species, cultivator of despair, returned to Earth disguised as lightning, bringing another legion of her speculators, intent on continuing her reign of terror. Physically, they appear to be human, cloaking themselves in whiteness to infiltrate and assume trustworthy positions in your society. She extracts resources above and beneath your soil, rapidly weakening your planet's vitality. The gases produced by your planet as it dies maintain her life force, and she uses what you value most to speed the disease. Earth's humans have based their entire social order on whiteness and wealth, using land and labor to bolster both. White and the speculators are skilled hypnotists with the ability to consign memories to oblivion, making it easier to reshape history and maintain power. The only way to defeat her is for your memories to advance through time, so your descendants can recognize her tactics and expose her evil strategy. This piece of the fifth element will allow you to enter the dreams of those in your bloodline. Tell them your stories, and when they are ready, they will free themselves. But be warned, the fifth element is one resource which Lina must never possess. Its power in her hands will imprison planets and galaxies beyond this plane, and none of us can prepare for the bevy of pain Lina White will force upon us if she controls the fifth element. While Earth is a nurturing home for her and the speculators, the Ananuki find it difficult to survive here. Your atmosphere diminishes our strength. We cannot stay long, but we will return often. Flora and Judith first visited my brother Milton and I after the death of our great-grandfather James Jones, who was the husband of Judith and Flora's great-granddaughter Rosetta. Upon his passing, we received an inscribed box containing 2 spherical triangles made of crystal, each laced between a worn piece of twine. That night, we both dreamed of Kentucky just after the Civil War. Over time, the dreams became so recurrent, we could recite the story by heart. "1871 started with violence when a mob of 17 white men from the Henry and Shelby County Ku Klux chapters, armed with double-barrel shotguns, terrorized the Black population of Stamping Ground and Watkinsville in Scott County. Unable to find William Blackburn at his barbershop in Stamping Ground, they continued their bloodthirsty spree until they encountered Cupid, an elderly shoemaker, and murdered him in his home. Undeterred, they continued their march to Watkinsville, where they are met with force. Black neighbors fight back, kill one of the aggressors, and the invaders eventually retreat. Unsure of when the Klan might return, They leave their homes and seek asylum in Frankfurt, just as the Kentucky General Assembly is introducing a Ku Klux bill. Kentucky and the rest of the southern states are experiencing numerous acts of terrorism at the hands of groups of masked men who are just impossible to identify, despite Black folks pointing fingers and naming names. There are two proposals for the bill. Senator Chenoweth's version would use a $500,000 budget to create a governor-appointed task force to root out offenders and prosecute them in accordance with state law. Senator Spalding's version adds more detail about premeditation and assigns mandatory penalties for offenders and accomplices, ranging from fines and jail time to death. Spalding's task force budget is $25,000, and the legislature fights over the budget amount, eventually reducing it to $10,000. All the while, Governor Stevenson is preparing to resign. Not in protest because the legislature can't get it together enough to protect the lives of the laborers who created their fortunes, but to become a U.S. senator and further the Bourbon Democrat agenda on Reconstruction, which resolved that states should be able to decide their own approach to building back better after the Civil War. It's an old song. When it comes to Black people, states' rights ain't where it's at nor where it's ever been. Bourbon Democrats are opposed by radical Republicans. Radicals are abolitionists prior to the war with a sprinkle of socialism and don't believe ex-Confederates should assume positions in the post-war government. The Kentucky General Assembly fails to pass the Ku Klux Klan bill during this session, probably because members of the Klan are elected to the House and Senate. Like, what kind of police do you call on the police? Who watches the watchmen? They do, however, pass legislation permitting us to testify in court, which could prove helpful in prosecuting Klan members. But Malia, you know it won't. Later in January, William Gibson became the mail agent for the Louisville, Frankfurt, and Lexington mail route. Previously, he worked the Lebanon route, becoming the first Black mail agent in the Commonwealth. By the second trip on his new route, the Klan attacked him at North Benson train station in Franklin County and threatened that if he didn't resign, he would be dealt with. Gibson takes a few days off and upon returning to work is provided with 10 U.S. Marshals for protection. Now, word on the street is that the Klan can easily overtake Gibson's guard as their numbers greatly exceed the Marshals. Mail continues to run without incident until March 3rd when the Postmaster General suspends the service. And I'm telling you, people are bothered. Folks want their mail quickly. Stagecoach delivery is much slower than the train delivery, and blame for the inconvenience is hurled everywhere. The issue becomes super political. Democrats blame Republican President Grant for influencing the Postmaster General to shut the mail service down. And Grant is like, these fools are interfering with mail all over the South. Y'all ain't trying to stop them because you're sipping too much bourbon and don't think the Klan is a problem. So I'm going to do what I got to do. Kentucky becomes one of many poster children for the forthcoming federal Ku Klux Klan bill to protect us from white domestic terrorists retaliating for losing the Civil War, their land, and wealth. The previously unpaid workforce now demands compensation, lowering profits. And many Confederates are driven out of the South during and after the war, leaving their acreage behind. I do declare the Southern way of life is changing. The white elite class is bitter and uses the Klan to regulate with vigilante violence. Governor, now Senator Stevenson, a Confederate sympathizer who doesn't even fight in the war, goes before the U.S. Senate saying Mr. Gibson was unqualified for the position. A white man should have been hired, and the story of the Ku Klux attacking Gibson was an exaggeration. He assures the chamber that when the facts come out, a Republican will be responsible, and the entire ordeal will boil down to political trickery because the Klan doesn't even exist in Kentucky. Senator Sherman from Ohio shuts Stevenson down like his name is Rand Paul, cited an incident where the Ku Klux break a man out of jail who had been in prison for killing a Black man in Frankfurt while Stevenson is governor. Senator Sherman should have also mentioned the attack on February 20th of former male agent, Civil War veteran, and blacksmith Darius Faulkner. Faulkner owned his home in Estill County and hosted Reverend Anderson Crawford from Berea College there. Berea in neighboring Madison County is continuing to create a racially mixed community by diversifying the college's ministry, academic programs, and living quarters. Reverend Crawford, while out checking on his horse, is met with gunfire. He retreats back into the home where Faulkner and William Johnson begin to fire back at their assailants. David Athey, who Faulkner once believed to be a friend and radical, along with Granville Caddy, are arrested for the crime. Faulkner testifies at the trial, but the men are still acquitted. Berea is an abolitionist college, and these folks are traveling the state recruiting Blacks to attend the school. And the Estill County Klan, they ain't about that life. Racial mixing is a good way to build power, but it's a dangerous prospect for affluent power holders. The Ku Klux attacked Mr. Adams, a white man, for living in a home with Blacks and for suggesting he'd rather his sister marry a Black person than a rebel. Thomas Gilbert, a leader of the Klan, organizes 40 men to send a message to Mr. Adams. They wrestle that man out of his bed in the middle of the night and pistol whip him. The revolver accidentally discharges, injuring one of the Klansmen. But when they get Mr. Adams outside, each of the men take turns whipping him, and he receives 82 lashes from whips made from surrounding tree branches. There seems to be no reprieve for us or our comrades, so Black Kentuckians from the hood to the holler petitioned the state and federal legislatures for policy-driven protections by detailing 199 episodes of racial violence in the Commonwealth. On April 20th, 1871, President Grant signed the Ku Klux Klan Act, protecting the civil and political liberties guaranteed to us by the 14th Amendment. Nevertheless, the Klan persists, forcibly recruiting men to join their brigade. Notices are sent to white folks giving them the options to leave the county, join up, or catch hands. Women are not absolved. Mrs. Woodward, a white woman who spoke out against the Powell County group, was taken to the woods and beaten. And Thomas Payne, a white Knox County native, received notices from the Klan at his job in the mines of Fitchburg. The written threats continue for months and start showing up at his home, so he leaves for 2 months. When he returns, the threats start again, and some nights later, he overhears Klan leader Thomas Gilbert order 10 men to surround and search his home. Payne escapes, and the next day confronts Gilbert. And Gilbert's like, nah, bro, it wasn't me. 4 times word reaches Payne that the Klan will give him one last chance. He can join them or leave Estill County. He decides to join up and act as an informant to get back at the band for the terror they've imposed upon him. Once initiated into the band of sycophants, Payne learns that Estill County is infested with Klan activity. There are companies in Cobb Mountain, Fitchburg, Scotts Landing, Hardricks Creek, the Estill Furnace, and at each locality throughout the county. He discovers State Senator Harrison Cockrell is the head and front of the organization in the counties of Estill, Lee, Wolfe, and Breathitt. Gilbert assures Payne that Cockrell's seat in government will protect them should they be apprehended. Senator Cockrell is powerful but reckless. His brother Elijah is a county judge, and their combined power makes them invincible. I mean, dude still serves in the Senate after catching bodies on election day. He and his friends murdered John Ross, James Dugan, and R.S. Sullivan at the voting precinct, and they're never arrested or prosecuted. If it's this easy for a murderous white supremacist to infiltrate the Capitol and undermine democracy, white speculators certainly aren't having a problem. A member of the Kentucky State Senate from 1863 to 1865, and again from 1869 to 1873, Cockrell is a member of the Agriculture and Manufacturing Committee. He and the state of Kentucky need mining in his home county of Estill to be successful to appease the furnace's wealthy investors and support the public. Estill's been trying to get investment in the furnace for a minute. Searching high and low, far and wide, they find Fred Fitch right up the street in Lexington. Fred pours so much money into Red River Iron Works that it is soon expected to be the most profitable enterprise in the state. Securing emerging white wealth while dealing with the changing face of Southern life, Senator Cockrell must ensure that the money keeps flowing. In a surprise to no one, he uses his militia of terrorists to carry out his wishes. Stay tuned for part 2 of Operation 2052, The Speculator Strike Back, where Malia learns her assignment, the Joneses move out of Christian County, and One West, Steve Poe, and Craig Greenberg make a land grab to take the West End back.